Hi, everyone that is joining us from home. This is Amanda Bido with Teen Services, joined by,
And I'm Jen Nisley, one of the assistants in the reference department.
and we are so excited today to share with you guys some research that we've done here in our library in the reference room. We have our Pennsylvania room, which gives us lots of information about Pennsylvania across the state. But in our reference room as a whole, we have several records that help us do some research. So we thought we would try our hand at it this summer. And this is our segment on local legends of Warren. So we are going to go ahead and Jen, you can start us off.
All right.
Oops.
That one too long. So let's start with the skull in the chimney. I don't know if anybody else has seen this. I personally have not gone over to try to find this. This is on a house over on Crescent Drive across the river. And there is a little skull embedded in this decorative chimney. So I encourage you to just take a walk on a nice day and kind of scope out the rooftops over there and see if you can spot this skull in the chimney. So there's a couple stories behind this. We're not sure if either or both are accurate, but there was a nice write-up several years ago in the Warren Times Observer about this. So one of the stories is that this was an Underground Railroad stop. And so the skull was used to symbolize that it was a safe house for fleeing slaves. Another story is that this was a bootlegger's home. So during Prohibition, when alcohol was illegal, there was a bootlegger that lived here, and the skull was to warn off his enemies, keep them away from his house. So beyond that, we're not really sure much, where the skull came from. Is it a real skull? And if so, whose is it? Nobody really knows. I also saw mentioned that there may have used to be two skulls, but one was stolen. So if anybody knows any additional information about this, please comment below our video and let us know if you know any more.
Absolutely. Oops. Next.
So another one that I came across that I thought would be fun, since the summer reading program was Oceans of Possibilities. And so talking about pirates, who'd have thought in Warren and Pennsylvania there'd be pirate stories, but there is actually tales of these river pirates. So you can see here in the picture that I've put in, there used to be these large rafts that would go down the river from Warren to Pittsburgh, usually in the springtime when all the snow and ice have melted and the water's really high. And so they'd have these big lumber rafts going down. And along the way, they'd run into these named river pirates, also known as pioneer bootleggers, that would keep an eye out for these rafts coming down the river, and they would home in on them, and they would try to sell them liquor and other goods to the raftsmen on the boats. And so they were given the name of river pirates. And so if you want to read more about them, I don't want to give anything else away. You can find out more about these river pirates in this Old Time Tales of Warren County by Arch Bristow. And there's a lot of other really great local tales of Warren County. So I encourage you to stop in the library and check this out.
It's a pretty looking book. So next that we're going to talk about is "There's silver in them, their hills." That is a caption from an article that was in the Warren Times Observer talking about a cave of silver. So there's many accounts in many records that we have of silver being in this area. And one of those accounts, and this is a true account actually, of silver being found in Seneca burial mounds near Irvine and Warren County. And this these Indian graves had lots of different silver pieces on them. We also have found several accounts of fur traders talking about coming here and trading furs for silver with the Seneca Indians as well. And many accounts of these natives wearing different types of silver jewelry and being adorned with silver in many different ways. Thank you, Jen. Now, here's the thing. The location is unknown, but somewhere along the west bank of the Allegheny River in Forest or Warren counties is basically where it's said to be, somewhere in the Allegheny National Forest. A lot of the accounts does talk about Tionesta and Irving. There is also an account of a hunter who found a cave full of silver, but was overcome by all the awful fumes and then could never relocate the cave again. Also, there's accounts of Native Americans bringing different people to this cave, but blindfolded, so therefore they can't remember where this cave is. So it's quite interesting. Is there really silver in them, their hills? The next one, this comes from one of our patrons who comes in often to use our microfilm in the reference room. He does his own research. And as he was looking through a Warren ledger dated January 23rd, 1885, he found what Warren finds in his drinking water: alligators in the pipes. Here's a little description from the article. A black, ugly, slimy, wiggling creature was found in the pipes. It was about 7 inches long with a repulsive head and a snaky, slimy body. It had the legs and claws of a salamander, the mouth and eyes of an alligator, and the body of a snake and the tail of an eel. Well, I hate to tell you folks, it was not an alligator. It was this hellbender, which is a eastern hellbender, which you do find in this area, but indeed not an alligator.
And we just want to do some quick mentions of some other legends, other stories of the area. So you may have heard of sightings of things like Bigfoot and UFOs and ghosts. So we don't want to give too much away. There are some really good ghost stories of Warren, so feel free to stop in and check those out. But I did want to mention that when we were working on putting this presentation together, I took a little break and I had a little week-long vacation. I went camping out at Chapman's Dam, and I ran into a member of a Facebook group called Strange Kin Zoo. And he had all these stories about Bigfoot and vortexes and other things up in the Kinzu area. So I made sure to become a member of that Facebook group so I can see some of these other stories. I would encourage you, if you have a Facebook account, to check them out. They've got some neat footage and things that you might be interested in seeing. And they've also posted of an upcoming event in Youngsville. It's the second annual paranormal conference, which is going to be held on Saturday, August 20th. So if you're interested, and hopefully they have a good day for it, I encourage you to head on down to Youngsville and see what all they've got going on down there.
And we would love to hear in the comments any of your stories of maybe your own sightings of any of these things. We do have some other tales of interest that we also found in our records. Now, at one point in time, there were mountain lions and wolves in this area, but long since then, they have been said to be moved on from this area or extinct from this area due to over fur trading and hunting and things like those. So we don't know if these sightings are maybe they never did leave. Who knows? But I do know that sightings of mountain lions is something I personally attest to. I lived just over the border in Frewsburg, New York, and growing up one day, me and my siblings were over at our neighbor's house jumping on their trampoline. Next thing I know, her dad's telling us to get in the house. He has a shotgun. He's running to the back of his property where his beehives are. And as we're running into their house, we see a mountain lion back there, a real live mountain lion. And my mom, of course, is calling over there because just moments ago, she also saw the mountain lion in our own property and was wondering if us kids are okay and are inside. So that is my little story about the mountain lion. Jen's going to tell you a little bit about some rattlesnake hunting and a little bit about sightings of wolves or wild dogs.
All right, so you may or may not know, but we do have rattlesnakes in this area. It's the only poisonous snake in our county. So the eastern timber rattlesnake. And back in the day, people used to go out and hunt these creatures. So there are, if you look up in the old Warren newspapers, you'll see where they'll talk about so-and-so went out rattlesnake hunting today. He caught so many rattlesnakes. They were, so big, and however many rattles were on them. They got very detailed as to what was caught. So it's just some interesting little stories that they used to put in the newspaper. And so I wanted to mention that if you want to learn anything more about rattlesnakes or any of the reptiles or amphibians in
Like
Pennsylvania,
hellbenders.
yes, hellbenders included, you can come into the library and check out this book about Pennsylvania amphibians and reptiles. And then I had a story, a friend of mine, when we were in junior high, told me she was out horseback riding with her father out in the Lander area. And they had a close encounter with a pack of what was either wolves or wild dogs. And so I just remember her expressing just how terrified she was as they were, circling them, and they had to hurry up and get out of that area. So I'm sure there's some other stories out there of people that have seen either wolves or wild dogs in this area. So please, any stories you have, please share them in the comment area under our video.
So that's the end of our local legends segment. We hope that you enjoyed it. We do have 3 other segments that you can also find located on the Teen Summer Reading page through our warrenlibrary.org website. And those will include discovering Kinzu Dam history of our waterways, and Warren Uncharted, which is kind of a fun little recording on the expedition of Warren, some of the first of Warren. We're even going to show you the first newspaper Warren and so much more for that. If you liked this, let us know in the comments. But also we have a quiz available on that same website, on that same webpage, that you can go and take. It's through Google Forms. It's very quick, easy quiz that you can take, and it will give you an entry for a chance at one of 2 $20 gift cards to Dipson Theaters. So thank you so much. We hope you'll enjoy.
Thank you.